What drug did you take once and thought, nope, never again? My dad gave me a Dilaudid he had left over from his hip surgery because I had a sore neck. I felt an almost overwhelming sense of euphoria. I knew I could never take another one. That fake weed stuff that was around a lil while back. Thought I was going to die. So hot. My sister found me naked passed out in the bathroom with my face against the bottom of the toilet. This really bothered me. I am not a gramophobe but rather germ-aware. Meth. Did some once thinking it was coke. Spent 2 days strung out and horny as hell. Never again. OxyContin. Shit was too relaxing and didn't last long. I had knee surgery and they gave it to me for the pain. I took it for a week and when I wasn't on it I really wanted more. After a week of it I never wanted to touch that shit again. Ambien. Woke up in my underwear on my neighbor's porch. Trazodone for sure. I was in the hospital to get my heart fixed up and was having a hard time falling asleep. To this day no one is sure exactly what happened. If I was given too much or just had a bad reaction or what. But I remember laying there and thinking something wasn't right. I got up and just kinda wandered around trying to find a nurse. I was freezing but pretty sweaty too and couldn't really see or hear so well. And you know that feeling when you bang your funny bone? My whole body felt like that. The weirdest part was I kept realizing, oh man I'm in trouble, and would start to panic but then a second later I'd sort of forget and feel so serene? I remember a nurse running towards me but she looked like she in slow motion. Like we were underwater kinda. And I knew I had something really important to tell her but couldn't remember what it was. All I could think was how beautiful everything was. How the light was catching her hair and her sneakers squeaking across the floor sounded like a symphony. I remember smiling at her and Ju kinda slumping against the wall and then everything went dark. I woke up hooked up to a bunch of monitors with a lot of worried faces standing around. My blood pressure had dropped down to nothing and if they hadn't found me when they did I probably woulda died. 6 tense experience. It was very beautiful but they made me chug so much yellow Gatorade and to this day that stuff makes me gag. Edit. Glad, sad to hear I'm not alone in whack experiences w Trazodone. That being said, I'm the furthest thing from a doctor and, as far as I understand, my outcome was pretty rare. I've met a lot of people who've benefited from Trazodone for sleep, anxiety and what happened to me was just sort of the perfect storm of drug sensitivity and underlying blood pressure issues. So talk to a doctor. Trazodone might be right for you, or kill you. Again IDK. Tetracycline. Turns out I'm allergic. Benadryl. Took around 700 to 800 milligrams, like 25 or 30 pills, a while ago to trip. Not a good recreational drug. It's like how people who don't do drugs imagine acid to be like. I'd actually vividly see things and people that weren't there. I'd see people come in the room I was in and sit next to me on the couch and I'd start having a conversation with them. Only to blink and have them disappear. I'd get up and start filling up a cup of water and bam I'd be back on the couch. Never having gotten up. I don't remember most of the night but my friend said I was just in a complete different world. They had some funny stories from it though apparently at one point I pulled my pants down and just said, ants in my pants. Salvia no doubt. Xanax. Took a bar at a friend's house. All I remember was watching Game of Thrones at a friend's house then next thing I know I'm at my apt and it's a day later. Wasn't a bad experience for anything it was just alright and felt like a waste of time. Plenty of better drugs out there. Heroin. Too good. Knew it'd get its claws in me if I did it a second time. For me. Meth. I did it once under the presumption that it was cocaine. It was not. I had to go to the hospital. I mean, I probably didn't have to. But at the time, I had only smoked weed. I didn't know how to deal with the increased heart rate and paranoia. For my friend, diphenhydramine aka Benadryl. He is a really hardcore tripper. And can handle inhuman amounts of psychedelic substances. But he said that the one drug he would never do again was Benadryl. He said that his experience had lots of spiders. Meth. I've taken prescription Adderall nearly my whole life and I wanted to test all these people who told me you're just taking prescription meth. To say the least I don't do either of them anymore. The two thing I've taken from this thread is that salvia is the worst drug out there. And that realizing you want more of a drug is instantly the reason to never do it again. Heroin. It was just too good. Salvia. It's a very short trip, but I felt so much physical discomfort, like my whole body was being shoved into a box, despite the fact that I was sitting in the grass with a group of friends. Apparently it's not an uncommon side effect of the drug. For me it was coke. I'm a broke bitch, so after spending $80 for maybe an hour's worth of a high, I very quickly learned why it's called blow. You can blow through it and all your cash in a few days tops. Glad I got off that shit quick. Woulda ruined me. Not a drug. But I was told I needed to take a fiber supplement. And went with the fiber pills. Then I went to the emergency room because I felt like I couldn't breathe within a few minutes of taking them. Fiber pills swell up easily with water. So they can end up feeling like they are sealing your throat. I now take fiber gummies. And actually enjoy having a little treat every day. I didn't take it intentionally. It was added to my weed without my knowledge. FKN angel dust. I overdosed on that shit. Muscle relaxants. Worst cramps I've ever had when the drug stops working. And you realize you have cramping muscles at the soles of your feet and between all your bones. Let me preface by saying I was an idiot. I am very aware of this. Do not try this at home. It's not even the most dangerous drug nor hardest I ever tried. You can legally buy it if you're 18. I was 16 and stole it. Me and my friend stole a bunch of Dramamine, like 12 bottles. This was before they put them behind the counters. Well, our dumb asses all took at least 18 pills each and tripped balls. Scary monster-filled balls. It was awful. My friend got arrested. I almost did. I thought my car got stolen and called the police. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It was horrible. It was one of the worst nights of my life. It was Halloween, like 2010, and I walked 3 miles in the dark dressed as Snooki from Jersey Shore. I was so high and scared I was seeing some weird shit and people. My friends and family kept appearing. It was the worst. When I finally made it home, the police got there because my dumbass called them because, like I said, I thought my car was stolen. I got lucky. They thought I had dented it and got scared. Instead of being high as a freaking kite. I got off with the cops, not with my dad. My dad and uncle had both done the whole Dramamine high thing in their youth, so I was grounded for a fat minute. I did LSD twice a couple years ago. The first time was awesome and the second time was also awesome, but since then I just don't want to do it anymore. It's weird, but I just don't. Even though I had very, very positive experiences with it, I just don't want to do it again. Ever again. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't really bother me. If you're wondering, I waited about 2 months or so to do my second trip. But dextromorphin is something I did one time and will never touch again. When I had an HS, I was a bit of a fiend and I went to the Walmart to get cough syrup off the shelf, Delsum Orange. I did it with 3 other friends and it fucked all of us up. We couldn't walk right. Like it felt as if our legs were lagging behind our brain by a couple seconds. Eventually I threw up like 4 times. Don't remember if they did, but I did. The euphoria was weak AF and the trip was really, really weird. DPT. People have referred to it as evil DMT, and that checks out. Imagine the psychedelic aspects of DMT, but it lasts for hours and you feel like you're also on meth. Good fucking luck sitting still for more than a millisecond. The visuals move at 1,000,000 miles an hour and it's really hard to get any semblance of reality. Basically you feel like you're in a crank movie and it feels like it goes on forever. Not fun. Also did a PCP analog once and that was obviously terrible. Didn't do enough to totally flip out. I was mostly confused and disoriented and nothing seemed real. I love ketamine, but this was different. Kinda similar to DPT, it was much more speedy than I would have preferred and it left me feeling scared and hopeless. Easy for me to see how enough of that shit will make someone go totally bananas. Finally. Meth. Did it once by accident. Someone told me it was MDMA, and that come down. Good lord. Just thinking about it gives me flashbacks. I don't really do drugs other than weed anymore, and that's probably for the best. There is a disturbing lack of mephedrone in this thread. Or maybe I'm the only idiot who got strung out on it. For the uninformed, mephedrone is better known as bath salts, good luck powder, etc. The people mentioning meth, imagine that multiplied by about 1,000. I've used every drug imaginable intravenously. And good luck powder definitely takes the cake. Immediately after injection, it felt like there was a beehive in my brain. It was so loud I had to pull my car over and put my hands over my ears. The teeth clenching was so tight I cracked multiple teeth over a 6-month binge. I didn't eat anyone's face. But my hallucinations were definitely out of control after a few days with no sleep. Celebrated 8 years clean March 10th. Fuck mephedrone. Edit. Formatting. And thanks for the silver friend. Second edit. I was confused about the name. It wasn't actually mephedrone. Bath salts are known as MDPV. Thank you for the correction, fellow Redditor. Wouldn't you like to know? Police boy? Topiramate, Topamax. A drug used to treat migraines and seizure disorders. I started developing a couple of the less common side effects, including facial numbness, tingling, visual disturbances, and most concerning to me, aphasia. The scariest thing about the aphasia is that it can be permanent. Sorry. But I'll deal with the headaches, which weren't even migraines. Just a stress phase one was going through, and keep my words. Thanks. Peyote. Only bad trip I ever had. I felt like I had ingested something that wasn't meant for me. Being a white guy. Kept seeing people hiding just out of sight. When I would turn to look at them, they would duck back around a corner or couch. See people crawling through windows out of the corner of my eye. I felt like Native American spirits were there to fuck with me and punish me for eating their sacred plant. Felt wrong the whole time. Never had any issues with any other psychedelic. Even under the most stressful situations. But for some reason peyote got me all wrong. I was a senior in high school when Hurricane Katrina hit. Our house got 6 feet of water. No fun. But one night my friends and I went to the gutted out house to smoke some marijuana out of a buddy's hookah. Buddy failed to inform us he had recently glued the bowl back together. Well, the crew lost composure. 2 people fell off the dock into the bayou. And everyone started panicking that they'd get hypothermia, not gonna happen during Louisiana summer. So people leave. I drive a group to our next spot. My Pontiac Sunfire is now a spaceship. My buddy riding shotgun started cackling, hysterically yelling about rattlesnakes in the road. We don't got those. And the 2 in the back were talking about magic or some shit. We couldn't make it to our destination due to freaking out. So went to hang out in a grocery store parking lot till we regained composure. 10 out of 10 would not smoke glue again. I was given fentanyl in a hospital setting for a lung procedure. They make you black out and go into your lung. I never had a bad experience, but I can see why people get addicted to it. I was euphoric and somebody let me go shopping. I bought all these blue dress shirts that didn't fit. Like $100s of dollars worth. I felt like I was on cloud 9 for hours. Ecstasy. Turns out it was laced with something. Most likely fentanyl. Lost feeling in my legs. Couldn't keep my eyes open and was in excruciating pain. Once my friends realized I was being serious and overdosing, they took me to the hospital. I swore to never take a pill again after that. I was only 17. I struggled with other drugs and was an addict. I just celebrated 2 years of sobriety from drugs this month. Edit. I want to thank everyone for the kind messages about my sobriety. I also really love hearing about other people's sobriety. I also got my first medal. You guys are awesome and always know that it does eventually get better. Edit 2. I have learned from others that it probably wasn't fentanyl due to the pain I was feeling. I had been told it was probably fentanyl, hence why I said most likely smiley face. Our area was having a huge problem with it at the time. I'm not sure what it was laced with for sure, but all I know is always test your E. I think I got one that will top anybody here. Datura. It's the most evil fucking plant in the world. I actually took it thinking it was morning glory. Internet was not nearly as prevalent back then. These days I would just Google it. It's not like tripping on anything else, as it's not a psychedelic or even a dissociative like PCP or ketamine. It's a deliriant. A whole nother ballgame. On mushrooms or ketamine, you know you are tripping. You know all the crazy shit going is because of a drug. On Datura, it's hard to remember you even took a drug. You would get these moments of clarity. Like the drug completely went away for a few minutes. Then go right back into it again. Some of the shit that happened. I accidentally drank laundry detergent because I confused the cap for my drink. I talked to this girl on the phone only to realize I had no phone in my hand and that my phone was in fact on the other side of the room, and then I did it again literally like 30 seconds after realizing I wasn't talking to anybody and the phone wasn't in my hand. People I knew kept appearing out of nowhere and it didn't seem weird to me at all. Literally my best friend at the time was just chilling in the shower with me and that didn't register as weird. Apparently at some point I asked my mom to smoke a bowl with me. I pissed all over multiple bathrooms in multiple houses. I guess this stuff messes with your bladder or something. It was completely uncontrollable. Like literally pissing all over walls and floors. And my little brother keeps telling me that I kept asking him to play a video game with me that does not exist. I don't remember that all. In fact, I don't remember 90% of what happened. The next day I had to go school. I literally couldn't read. I would look at the page and the words just made no sense. It looked like gibberish. This prompted me to go to the nurse and just tell her I needed to go home and I couldn't explain why. In fact, I am pretty sure I just told her I need to get the fuck out of here and that somehow worked. But not without calling my probation officer down to the office first. They could tell something was up, but they could piss test me all they wanted since there's no way in a million years they would ever think to test me for this stuff. That's if a test even exists for it in the first place. After that they sent me home. I didn't feel fully normal again for about 2 more days after that. Most of them. Other than high-grade pot. Most give me a dissociative feeling that I hate. Even prescribed painkillers. I stay on them for as short of a time as I can stand. Edibles. Took too many gummies to calm me down before getting a tattoo. They didn't know I had taken them of course, so when I went gray after not really breathing effectively for a few minutes all I heard was, "Breath ma'am. We're going to give you something." I thought they were going to Narcan me, so I spoke up. They gave me orange-flavored glucose tablets instead, which I must say is a 10 out of 10 snack when you're toasted. I tried cocaine in high school against my better judgment. It's addictive, you know, anyway. When I was on it I felt 10 feet tall and I was super confident. Everything I thought I wanted to feel about myself. Then I came down and was looking for a gun so I could kill myself because I felt so horrible. Worst feeling ever. Crack. It was too good. I get the hype. LSD. It's an incredible drug for many people, but unfortunately, I had a bad time. Some parts, however, were very fun and memorable. However, due to the amount of anxiety I felt, there's no way I'm dropping acid ever again. To quote Alan Watts, "When you get the message, hang up the phone." Did acid once. Was on edge and slightly uncomfortable most of the time, but it was still overall enjoyable. Then a friend who was also tripping with us started to have a bad trip and it was really difficult to not lose it myself. Felt like I was very close to losing control. Thankfully everything ended up fine, but there's no way I'm doing it again unless I have access to Xanax. Kills a trip in 20 to 30 minutes. Meth. Made the mistake of looking in a mirror. Tried to pull my teeth out. About 15 years ago I ordered some drug from the Silk Road site. I had read about the site and was curious if it was legit. Spent about $50. And some mystery powder came in the mail. I waited till I had the house to myself for the weekend and proceeded to get fucking blackout wasted. I've tried every drug under the sun. No idea what this was. But I never want to do it or even see it again. Days later, I found a video on my camera of myself staggering around. Cross-eyed. Drooling. Shirtless. And trying to play guitar. It was horrifying. Edit. A bunch of you are calling bullshit because I said Silk Road and apparently it didn't exist yet. I bought a few things back then over the course of a few years. And I have little recollection about names of sites except the Silk Road one. I read about these sites in some porn mag like Penthouse and checked out a few of them. Also, it wasn't just a button that said mystery drug, $50. The drug was some combination of letters and numbers I forgot 30 seconds after I ordered it. Not a lie, just a fuzzy memory. You fucking naysayers. Percocet. It was in liquid form. I can totally see how people get addicted to that stuff. It's like a few minutes later the world turns into a beautiful place and your problems disappear. Bath salts. I had been told it was MDMA. It looked and tasted, and originally felt like MDMA. For the first 12 hours. The next 48 hours when I was still high as a kite. I thought I was never going to come down. One of my pupils was highly dilated and the other wasn't. Thankfully, I was working a solo shift at a tiny cafe in a student library when I went back to work on the 3rd day. And only had to deal with like 4 people the entire day. I legit thought I broke my brain and was okay with it because I was just continuously rolling without the major side effects. Problem was, I couldn't sleep. I think I was awake for 4 days straight before I passed out from exhaustion, and then the nightmarish experience this had caused began to wind down. I tested the rest I had and found it was bath salts. And actually swore off doing drugs. Been clean since. Over 6 years now. Honestly. Propylhexedrine inhaler. It's a menthol inhaler you gotta eat insides of. The drug is like dirty MDMA. But it's legal to buy an inhaler. Since most folks would eat cotton soaked in menthol oil. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.